So. Thought I would review Wrestlemania 42. I've watched both nights of it. Big wrestling fan, so I thought I'd just view it. I've just been drinking some Old English 40 ounce this whole time and sipping on cinnamon schnapps, so a little buzzed. So I did write down the card of both nights so I don't forget anything. I've seen every WrestleMania except X8 for some reason. I think it's because I was watching them in order on the WWE Network, and I just didn't get that far. And then when I first started as a fan, the only DVDs that were available to collect that weren't rare were the ones with the WWE logo. So I started collecting all of the WWE pay-per-views from then on. So, of course, I watched WrestleMania 19 and 20 and 21 and so on. So X8 was just one that I haven't watched yet, which I need to. People say that the Hogan Rock match is excellent. But anyways, WrestleMania Night 2, WrestleMania 42. First, night 1, I was pretty disappointed in, to be honest. It didn't really feel like a WrestleMania. It wasn't horrible like some people were claiming online, but it did not feel like a WrestleMania. It started off with Cena basically coming out and saying basically people in the locker room weren't happy with how the build up to this year's WrestleMania was, which is a weird thing to open the show with. And then it started with the Usos and LA Knight versus Logan Paul and Austin Theory and I Show Speed. I thought this match was kind of fun. I Show Speed did his role well, where he was like a cowardly guy that didn't want to be a part of it, but then he ended it with a big splash through Logan Paul after they turned on him after the match. It wasn't anything special, but it was a good opener, and then McIntyre and Fatu, I was actually kind of, and Jake versus Jacob Fatu, I was actually kind of disappointed in. I thought they would do more cool, stuff. Instead, it was just basically a generic brawl, which is fine. It wasn't bad again, but it did not feel like a WrestleMania match. It felt like it could have been the main event of a SmackDown, And then my least favorite match of the entire both nights was the women's tag title match, 4-way match. That was horrible. That's great and all that Paige made a surprise comeback, but the match itself was just horrible. It wasn't good at all. So, yeah. And then AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch. I'm not really a fan of either of them. The match was just meh. I thought AJ Lee's entrance with a bunch of little girls skipping was one of the cringiest things ever. It's oh yeah, you're a really cool wrestler. You have a bunch of children skipping to the ring with you. What the hell is that? At least Becky Lynch's entrance was cool with her with the punk band that does her entrance song, but other than that, match was just whatever. Rollins versus Gunther was the best match of night 1, but it was still just good. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't like WrestleMania, and it didn't even feel like a WrestleMania match because they were more setting up Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins with him interfering. Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Fouture. I actually thought this would have been good for the women's title, but it only went for 6.5 or 7 minutes. It was the most nothing match ever. It's okay, you built this whole thing up with Liv Morgan win the Royal Rumble. Really weird. Then Rhodes versus Orton wasn't a bad match. It was kind of slow paced, but all the bullshit with Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll, which I liked Pat McAfee as a commentator, when he was a face, but he's horrible as a heel, and the story doesn't make any sense with this WrestleMania main event. I like that they had Cody Rhodes and I think Orton both bleed, but definitely Cody Rhodes. It looked like that Randy Orton accidentally legitimately kicked him at the end, and I'm hearing rumors online he might have with the punt kick, so that sucks. We might have to vacate the WWE title now. It was also really weird because if it's supposed to be the main event of WrestleMania, why are they setting up a rematch already with Orton stealing the title and attacking him after? Night 1 did not feel like WrestleMania at all, and then even worse, and this was a problem night 2, is the fucking ads. Half the show is fucking ads now. It's like they'd sometimes have ads on pay-per-views in WrestleMania, but it'd be like one ad. This is like half the show is freaking ads. And the ESPN app, I miss the WWE Network app. The ESPN app freaking sucks horribly. It kept, I used it on two different devices, and the first device, it was in horrible like quality, the picture quality, and it just kept crashing like every like 20 minutes. So then I switched to my Roku, and the picture quality was way better, and it didn't crash. But instead, and it did this on both night one and night two, sometimes after the ad break, it would skip back to the previous segment before the ad break. So I'd have to go out and go back to the live feed on the ESPN app. And it's like, for like $1 billion company and shit, because it's like Disney that owns it, that's like pathetic. It should be way better than that. The ESPN app sucks dick. Um, and then night two, thankfully, I liked night two a lot better. It actually felt like WrestleMania, even with all the ads. Um, Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar was probably my most anticipated match, and it was all right. It was pretty short, but the more noteworthy thing is Brock Lesnar seemingly retiring after at the end, and uh, he put over Obafemi huge, which is cool. Obafemi reminds me of like a combination of like Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. He's going to be a huge star. I mean, he basically already is, especially after this. He freaking just stood up after an F5 and gave Brock Lesnar a chokeslam. The ladder match is probably my favorite match of both nights. It's tied for the main event on night two. I love the ladder match. Holy crap. The Canadian Destroyer from Penta to JD McDonough, I thought he freaking killed him. I legitimately did. And there was tons of cool spots. It's insane that Rey Mysterio is still able to do as crazy shit as he can do at his age with all of his injuries and stuff. And I'm glad Penta won. Penta's one of my favorites in the modern day WWE. Um, Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams, I didn't get the point of. I'm not a fan of Trick Williams. Um, I This should have been a four-way with Carmelo Hayes and what the hell was the guy Dragunov or whatever. I don't really care about Dragunov, but Carmelo Hayes I think is one of the upcoming stars, and he really should have been on this year's WrestleMania. I don't get the big deal with Trick Williams. I don't watch NXT, so maybe he was better there. But watching him on SmackDown, I don't understand what's the big deal with him. And then Sami Zayn's just like okay to me. He's like fine. He can have good matches. So this match was like nothing to me. I guess it was kind of funny when he threw Little Yachty into the barricade. Little Yachty was accompanying Trick Williams, which is a big name rapper. Um, and then the Trick won, good for him, I guess. But that match was basically nothing to me. I really liked the Demon Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio match. Finally, the Demon's one of my favorite things in wrestling, and it sucked that they kind of like neutered him when he went up against the Demon. Finn Balor went up against Roman Reigns and Edge, and then he retired it for a few years. Now he brought it back, and it's awesome again. I really liked the match. The finish, the coup de grace through the table was awesome. Jade versus Rhea Ripley was all right. It was a good powerhouse thing. It sucks that Io Sky didn't get her own match against Asuka, because the whole time I was growing up, if you're a big star and you're healthy, you would be on the WrestleMania card. Now it feels like they're not doing that for some reason, which makes no sense to me. Io Sky and Asuka should have been on the card, but instead Io Sky just runs in to stop interference in this match. Jade's Cargill's a lot better than she was in AEW. Because I remember watching her in AEW and she was really clunky, but she's a lot better now. Finish was cool with Rhea reversing the finisher and putting her own finisher on. But overall, it was just a pretty good match. And then the Danhausen segment was funny. All the little people, or midgets, as Michael Cole kept calling them, and he claims he got permission from them to call him that. They call them that. Dogpiling the Miz and Kit Wilson and Danhausen cursing them. It was pretty fun. And then the main event, shocked me. I was not looking forward to CM Punk versus Roman Reigns at all. I find that Roman Reigns is a really mixed bag. And I find that CM Punk, ever since his return, has been a really, really mixed bag. But this is the first classic WrestleMania Roman Reigns match that I can think of. Like, this is a match that I'll actually like revisit years later. It's like an actual classic. It was really good. They had Roman Reigns beating the shit out of CM Punk to the point where he was like bleeding all over. Um, well, and CM Punk like got one over on him, was able to hit him with quickly with a GTS and reverse of the tide of the match. It was awesome. Really good, much better than I was expecting. I'd give night one like a 5 out of 10. Like, it was whatever. It's really disappointing for WrestleMania. I'd give night two like an 8 out of 10. I really like night two. Night one, some people are saying, is one of the worst WrestleManias. That's not true at all. Night one's WrestleMania, it was very mediocre, but it was not as bad as my least favorite WrestleManias were like 11, 32, and then what was the COVID WrestleMania, 36? Yeah, those three are worse than night one. But night two is pretty good. I like night two a lot, and I actually felt like WrestleMania, like I said, even with the ads. So yeah, that's my review of WrestleMania 32. Um, really excited to see where they go from here with Obafemi. Roman Reigns will probably just not have a match for months until SummerSlam or something, which sucks, but it is what it is. That's how they've been booking him. I was always a fan of Brock Lesnar. Kind of sad he retired, but he's been a part timer for what, like over a decade. So I guess it's not that big of a surprise. But overall, pretty cool. I really liked also with CM Punk. They used in the start of his entrance his old AFI song that he would use on the Indies and like Ring of Honor. That was cool. Yeah. So overall, that's my review. Pretty cool.